Welcome back. So this is video related to culture media that we use daily in microbiology practicals. Okay, see from first year to third year. Okay, so knowing culture media properly is very important because you get a lot of questions in Viva. Okay, so in this video we are going to cover nutrient agar, MacConkey's agar, EMB or EMBA and Cetrimide agar. Okay, so this is part 1, and in part 2 we will be discussing Sabrod dextrose agar, Miller-Hinton agar, XLDCA agar, blood agar, and mannitol salt agar. Okay, so this is part 1 and that is part 2. I will be uploading that soon. Okay, so do watch part 2 also. Okay, so let's start. So first is general information about culture media. A culture media can be solid, liquid, or semi-solid, and it is designed to support the growth of microorganisms in our lab. Okay, we mimic the growth conditions, right? So we use culture media for supplementing the uh, nutrients which are essential for their growth. Okay, so we use media depending on our aim. So it can be a basic nutritive media, it can be a selective or differential or enrichment media. Okay, so we are going to discuss some examples here. So first is nutrient agar. Okay, all of you now know about nutrient agar. From starting from first year we are first introduced to nutrient agar, and it is widely used general purpose agar, and it supports the growth of a huge array of non-selective organisms. It means it supports the growth of almost all types of bacteria. Okay, it is not selective. So because it contains the essential nutrients which are needed for growth of bacteria, a lot of bacteria can easily grow on nutrient agar, and then you can subculture it further. Okay, so it is used to cultivate and maintain non-fastidious microorganisms. Okay, so non-fastidious means the one which require a particular ingredient, okay, to grow. Without that particular ingredient the microbe cannot grow. Okay, so those uh, microbes are known as fastidious microbes. Okay, so nutrient agar, it supports the growth of non-fastidious microbes. Okay, then next is MacConkey's agar. So for E. coli generally we use MacConkey's agar, right? After in our practicals, after doing basic streaking, we are introduced on nutrient agar, we are introduced to MacConkey's agar. Okay, so it is both, it is a selective and differential media, and it is used to isolate and differentiate non-fastidious gram-negative rods such as Pseudomonas and Enterobacteriaceae. Okay, so MacConkey's agar is also useful in isolating coliforms like E. coli and intestinal pathogens that are present in water, dairy products, and other forms of biological specimens. Okay, so here in picture you can see the below one is a sterile plate of MacConkey's agar, and above the first picture it shows a lactose negative growth, then a lactose positive, and another that is also a lactose positive. Okay, so there is a change in the pattern. You can see the first, which is lactose negative, is completely colorless. The other one, the other isolate, which is lactose positive, only you will see the growth of microbe is pink in color. But in case of E. coli you will also see the media which is present around the growth of the E. coli. The color of media is also changed, it is also pink, right? So this is how you differentiate, you selectively isolate E. coli. Okay, so these are some ingredients which are present in MacConkey's agar. Okay, so these are their rules. Okay, so first is lactose monohydrate. So you can get a question that why MacConkey's agar is uh, known as a selective media. Okay, it is a selective media because it has lactose monohydrate and bile salt and crystal violet. Okay, so these are two three very important ingredients in MacConkey's agar. So first, the role of lactose monohydrate is it provides a source of fermentable carbohydrate, enabling the differentiation to take place. Okay, so lactose monohydrate is a fermentable carbohydrate. Okay, so this is the role of this ingredient. Then second is bile salt and crystal violet. So they both, they work as they inhibit the growth of microbes that belong to the gram-positive family. Okay. Then next is neutral red. The neutral red, it is uh, we can say a pH indicator. It works as a pH indicator. It identifies the pH level. If the pH is below 6.8, then it turns red. Okay, below 6.8, that means towards acidic range, it turns red. And a colorless reading means that the pH is greater than 6.8, that is yellow. Okay. Then next is sodium chloride. So it provides uh, essential electrolytes. It provides essential electrolytes which are needed for transportation and osmotic balance. Okay, and last is distilled water, which works as a medium, and the agar. Okay, so agar is a solidifying agent, right? So it is present in all media that we use for plating, right, to solidify our media. So that was about MacConkey's agar. Then next is EMB, okay, or EMBA, also known as eosin methylene blue agar. It is again a selective and differential media. So it is a selective culture media for gram-negative bacteria. Commonly, we do EMB agar we use it for E. coli, right? For metallic sheen, to show metallic sheen or to study that in practicals, we are provided with EMB agar plates, right? So it is a selective culture media for gram-negative bacteria and is commonly used for isolation, differentiation of coliforms and fecal coliforms. Okay, then EMB, it helps in visual distinction of E. coli, that is Escherichia coli, and other non-pathogenic lactose fermenting enteric gram-negative rods. Okay, so to differentiate between these, EMB is used. Okay, so differentiation between these gram-negative bacilli is based on the colony color, right? So one which uh, ferment lactose, those are colored colonies. Okay, and one which do not ferment the lactose, those are colorless colonies. Okay, so that is the differentiation which is used. Okay, so there is a mistake for G for gram. Okay, so it should be a capital letter. The next is about the dye that is used in eosin methylene blue agar. So these are aniline dyes. One is eosin and other is methylene blue. They inhibit gram positive and fastidious gram negative bacteria. Okay, so that is the role of eosin methylene blue, and the same is used for naming the media. EMB, it stands for eosin methylene blue. Then they combine to form a precipitate at acidic pH, and thus also serving as an indicator of acid production. Okay, so they also work as pH indicators. Then gram-negative bacteria that ferment the lactose, they produce acid. Okay, which in turn, which gives the colonies the dark purple color as the acid acts upon the dyes. Okay, in addition, certain lactose fermenting bacteria, they produce flat dark colonies with a green metallic sheen, for example E. coli. Okay, so other lactose fermenters, they produce large mucoid colonies and the color can be purple in center. Okay, so this depends on the culture, right? So in EMB agar, most of the strains of E. coli, the colonies, they show a characteristic green sheen, that is the shiny or metallic shine is seen on the colonies. Okay, so that is why mostly for confirmation, EMB is used for E. coli. Okay, so rapid fermentation of lactose and production of strong acids, thus a rapid reduction in the pH of EMB agar takes place, and this is the critical factor in the formation of the metallic green sheen. Okay, which is observed with E. coli. Okay, so this is the main answer that you can give for why you see a metallic sheen for E. coli on EMB. Okay, so that is because of the rapid fermentation of lactose and production of strong acid which reacts with the dyes, and it gives a metallic sheen to the colony. Okay, so lactose non-fermenters, they will be colorless or light lavender. Okay, So this is how you use EMB Agar. The next is Cetrimide. So Cetrimide is generally used for Pseudomonas, right? We remember the media mainly used for Pseudomonas. So it is a selective and differential medium which is used for isolation and identification of Pseudomonas aeruginosa from clinical or non-clinical specimens. Okay, so it has pancreatic digest of gelatin which provides necessary nutrients for Pseudomonas aeruginosa such as uh, nitrogen, vitamins and carbon source. Okay, so the nutrients are mainly provided by pancreatic digest of gelatin. Then there is magnesium chloride and potassium sulfate. They stimulate the pigmentation, right? We know that Pseudomonas, they produce green color pigment which are known as pyocyanine and pyoverdine. Okay, so they stimulate the pigmentation. Then third is very important, and that name is actually given for this media, that is Cetrimide. Okay, so Cetrimide or Cetrimide, it can be pronounced both the ways. So it is actually a cetyl trimethyl amino bromide. Okay, it is a detergent and it is a selective agent. It inhibits most of the bacteria by acting as a detergent. So when in contact with bacteria, they causes the release of nitrogen and phosphorus from the bacterial cells other than Pseudomonas. Okay, so it is a selective media that supports the growth of Pseudomonas, right? And next is glycerol. It is a glycerol is supplemented as a source of carbon. Okay, so there are two sources of carbons. First is glycerol and second is pancreatic digest of gelatin. Okay, so this is the picture of Cetrimide agar and Pseudomonas. Okay, so you can see greenish yellowish green pigmentation, right? And some of these cultures, they even flourish in UV lights. Okay, so that is how you can selectively isolate Pseudomonas. Okay, so this was all about nutrient agar, MacConkey's agar, Cetrimide agar, and EMB or EMBA. Okay, so I hope these videos are useful to you all. Okay, so this was part 1. Don't forget to watch part 2 also. Okay, so thank you for watching once again, and do like my videos, share these videos with your friends, subscribe to my channel, right? And follow me on Instagram as well. Okay, till then, bye bye.